Welcome friends, it is I, your LostScarf, and it's time for the beginner guide to Poseidon. As always, this is a beginner guide, so if you're an expert at the god, probably not a lot here for you, but for those who want to learn how to play the god, this is a good resource for you. We're going to go over how to play him in Conquest and in Arena, ways you should build in Conquest and in Arena as well, do's and don'ts with him, his weaknesses, and his abilities. Just go over everything in general you should do with him, and then we'll have a final thought on all that. So that's really what it is here. It should help you get acquainted with the god and do well with him, and eventually you'll find your way to higher level play, and good luck there. So let's get going! So who is Poseidon? Well, Poseidon is the god of the sea, and his favorite song is Barbie Girl. He is a speedy mage with a strong clear and the ability to burst down any god with a simple but easily missed combo. Thanks to his passive, he has the ability to quickly travel across maps for ganks and helping teammates. If you like a strong clear and destroying your opponents in seconds, you'll get hooked on Poseidon. Poseidon's abilities. First up is his passive Changing Tides. What happens is Poseidon has a meter that fills up every time he hits with a basic attack, and it decreases when he uses abilities. The more full the meter is, the stronger the abilities are, and at max meter, it does 20% extra damage to his abilities. The meter also increases his movement speed up to 10% max, depending on how full it is. So before you use your abilities on your opponents, you want to make sure this meter is as full as possible. His first ability is Tidal Surge. It is a slow skill shot that pierces enemies and walls. All targets hit suffer a small knockback. This uses 35% of tidal meter. His second ability is called Trident. During this ability, he gains movement speed, and his basic attack has 2 additional shots on the sides. So he's shooting 3 shots at once. Anything hit by these shots will increase his tidal meter per shot, so he can get 30 per hit if he hits with all 3 of them. And because of the extra movement speed, he's able to get to ganks or just move to lanes quicker than normal. Also, only the middle shot activates basic attack passives. Poseidon's third ability is called Whirlpool. This is a large AoE attack that cripples targets on it and slowly pulls them towards the center for 3 seconds. Incorrectly, it will attack an entire minion line for clearing. This ability uses 25% of tidal meter and is your best setup ability for the rest of your combos because of the cripple. Poseidon's ultimate is called Release the Kraken. This is a large AoE attack with an inner and outer radius. Enemies hit with the outer radius are slowed and also take minor damage compared to the inner radius. The inner radius does even more damage, knocks up and stuns for up to 2 seconds. And this ultimate uses 50% of your tidal meter. Poseidon in Conquest. Now for beginners you should play him in mid lane, for advanced you can play him in solo and jungle, and we won't cover those in this guide. Now with Poseidon, it's all about the farm and harassing your opponent to keep them low, and then when the time is right, you kill them with your combo. You won't have your combo until level 5, of course, but once you get to that point, you want to have your tidal meter full, and this is the combo you want to do. You put the Whirlpool on your opponent to cripple and slow them down. Then you hit them with the inner circle of the Kraken. That will do a lot of damage and it will stun them. You hit them next with your Tidal Surge, which is your wave, and that should do enough damage to hopefully kill them. If it does not, then you use Trident to finish them off, using your basic attacks and the movement speed to get close enough to finish them out. With all that combined, you will destroy your opponents usually at level 5. If they barely survive it, they'll have to go back to base, but of course they'll be back at base while you're still farming. And you just keep doing this the entire game. You're just farming when your ultimate's down, and when your ultimate's up, you hit them with a big combo over and over and over again. If your opponent is very careful and doesn't let you do that, then when they go back to base, you run over to another lane, use your big combo, and then go back to your main lane and farm up some more. During the team fighting phase, it's a little bit different. Now, if you farmed up well, you'll be a big nuisance during the team fighting phase because you'll have some items that can take advantage of your Whirlpool, and you'll be able to use your Kraken in big team fights. That Kraken can really disrupt a fight and cause a bunch of problems for your opponents so your teammates can capitalize and just win the game. So in general, all you gotta do is farm when your ultimate's down, and then destroy when your ultimate's up. And if you don't get to use your ultimate, find opportunities to do it somewhere else. There are 4 things integral to your survival as Poseidon. You need to know when to run around to other lanes if your lane is too stalemated. You need to be able to land your wave shot, which is a very slow shot, but if you land it, you'll be good. And you need to know when and where to push your Whirlpool. And lastly, of course, landing that combo. That combo takes a lot of speed and reaction to do, and when you master it, you will absolutely control your lane and control other lanes and win the game outright. The do's and don'ts of Poseidon. The first one has to be reminding you what the combo is, and that is 3-4-1-2. That is Whirlpool, Kraken, Tidal Surge, and Trident. You hit them with the Whirlpool to cripple them and slow them down. Hit them with the center of the Kraken to stun and knock them up. Then you hit them with the Tidal Surge after that to do a lot more damage and knock them back, and then finally finish them off using the Trident. Another do has to do with Trident, that is, you can use it to quickly move from place to place. Don't forget, there's a movement speed increase on that ability. Another do is using Whirlpool to clear entire minion waves. Place it correctly and you can clear archers and minions every time as long as you put it in the right spot. Another thing to remember about Trident is that you can quickly build up tide meter because of the triple shot on it. And lastly, during team fights, you want to use your Kraken on as many targets as possible so that can set them up for other teammates to destroy horribly. And there's only one don't for Poseidon, that is, don't waste your Kraken on an opponent with an Aegis. They will survive it and then you'll be in trouble. So how should you be building Poseidon? Well, at the start you want to have Tiny Trinket, Vampiric Shroud, 2 blue potions and 1 green potion. Tiny Trinket will eventually become a Bancroft's Talon. You'll have a good amount of sustain here, and it'll allow you to harass your opponent very well, maybe even kill them. If not, you'll at least clear your lane well, and that'll be good for you. If you get ahead of your opponent, Bancroft's talent can keep getting built, because you'll destroy them sooner and quicker and just snowball your lane. If you're not really winning your lane all that much, you should go for Shoes of Focus, because then you'll have better cooldowns, you'll be able to just do things in your lane quicker, and it'll help you right the lane better. The other items you should get at some point, like Gem of Isolation, to slow down your opponent, make your combos easier to land. Then there's Obsidian Shard, which just breaks things open because it just does so much damage with penetration. And Routed to Hootie for a lot of power. Your other item, which you can consider putting at any point, should be a reactionary item, maybe your third or fourth item. And that is, if you're getting ganked a lot by physical gods, Bracelet of Valor will give you max cooldown, and give you a lot of defense towards physical, and of course give you a lot of mana. Now you're getting a lot of magical pressure, you might want to get the Void Stone instead, that'll help you out, and also reduce their protection. If you think you're going to go for a long game, and you don't have a problem with being squishy, then Book of Thoth will give you a lot of power. If you want to be not squishy, then Warlock Sash. And this is really, you get these if you know the fight's going to be pretty long, because you're going to need a while to build these stacks. As far as actives go, for aggressive actives, you can go with Greater Sprint or Weakening Curse. Greater Sprint will allow you to be anywhere and everywhere pretty quickly and just harass very well. Weakening Curse to slow down your opponent to keep them in place to give you an easier time with their combo. You should at least have one defensive active, and that should be an Aegis Pendant, Greater Purification, or Combat Blink depending on what you're fighting. And you'll get a better sense of what you need to use on what situation depending on who your opponents are the more you play the game. Poseidon in Arena. Now on the screen there will be a build suggestion for how to play him in Arena. At least this is my suggestion for him. That is cooldown boots and then cooldown armor, which is a Breastplate of Valor. They give you good tankiness to deal with any physical gods who want to kill you, like a Loki. With this armor you'll be able to survive him kinda well. Gem of Isolation will be very useful in harassing your opponents and slowing them down for your teammates to completely destroy. Obsidian Shard is just a good penetration item, gives you a good amount of power as well, and will serve your combo very well. Bancroft Talon gives you a lot of power when you're low on HP, and also gives just really good lifesteal. And finally, Routed to Hootie give you even more power. Now if you're not fighting a lot of physical gods, you can go with Cronus Pendant for the cooldown, and you're fighting just a little too much magic, you can go for the Void Stone to give you some defense to deal with them. Then we have the actives here, which are Beads if you need it, Aegis if you need it, Combat Blink if you need it to get away from things. Weakening Curse can be used a bit as a crutch in a way. You can use it to slow down your opponents to make your combo easier to land, and Heavily Agility to run around and be really aggressive if you want. Now the question is, do you use your combo to kill a single god in Arena, or for teamfights? And the answer is both, and you'll know which situation to use it on as they come the more you play. Sometimes you just really need to take out a big god that has a lot of power and use the combo on them. Sometimes it's a couple little guys that you need to deal with, and you'll use it on them instead. But when your Kraken is down, you'll be using your abilities to harass your opponents and to clear lanes. Keep doing that, and you have a good chance at winning the game. Poseidon's weaknesses. Now Poseidon only has one real weakness, and that's basically Aegis and invulnerabilities. Anything that can do that will survive his Kraken combo because, well, they won't get hurt. So the only way to deal with those gods is either to not deal with them at all, or wait until after they've used their Aegis or their invulnerability. So in conclusion, Poseidon is all about farming and waiting with bated breath for the opportunity to absolutely destroy someone with his combo. As long as you clear well and aim true with your combo, you will drown your foes. It will take a while to perfectly pull off the combo, but once you do, it is on. And as always, I hope you learned something from this guide. If you didn't, hopefully one of your friends did. As long as someone learns, then this was worth it. Up next is going to be Bacchus, and if you want to join in on that discussion or a future god discussion, we have the discussions at 7 PM PST on Friday nights at Scarf Plays at twitch.tv, and they're a lot of fun. So that's the guide. I had fun making it. Hope you had fun watching it. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? Having fun. Thanks for coming by, and see you next time.